What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Aspyre Entertainment podcast. Today, I am joined with Em and Emma, and we are going to go ahead and do a little dive into three different of our favorite conspiracy theories. Um, so, yeah, it's going to be interesting because I have a feeling we've all chosen drastically different, uh, different sides of the conspiracy theories. Um, but yeah, who wants to get started?
I just want to start by saying, y'all better not roast me for the Anne Frank thing again. I'm not having it.
Anne Frank,
Was
what?
it? No, not Anne
Babe.
Frank. Helen Keller!
What a great start, ladies and gentlemen! What a great.
Oh my god! Well, Anne Frank didn't exist either. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yo, you're gonna get roasted in the comments. Oh my god!
I'm totally kidding. Oh my
Wait.
god. Anne Frank is a real person. Oh my god.
I have her diary on my bookshelf. I was on TikTok today, though, and I think my sister sent me a video about Helen Keller, and one of the comments was, I always get her and Anne Frank mixed up.
Me too, apparently.
Wild.
When I was a
right.
youth, we had a project in my elementary school where you had to take a historical figure and give them a campaign for presidency, and I chose Anne Frank. Of all people.
What was your campaign slogan?
I could not tell you.
No.
But this project poster was in my house for a long time because my mom just couldn't get rid of things, so it just sat in our dining room for years.
Can you see if your mom remembers anything about the project?
Yeah, I'll ask her and I will let you guys know.
Jeez. Oh my god. I think like the worst thing that I had from when I was younger was talking about what I was gonna do. I was in 6th grade or something like that. Maybe I don't know. I think it was while I was in middle school, and my mom held it for the entire time and showed it to me, and I wrote down on there that I was gonna become an astronaut and a ninja by night and all this other shit. It was I don't know. And then I said that I was going to be the youngest president at age of 22 or something like that. And I was like, yeah, I am not a president.
You can't even run for president until you're 35, I think.
No, and I even specifically said that in my paper. I said, I am going to reshape the idea.
They're going to write a new law just for you.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, Trump tried to do it, so.
Wild.
Sorry.
Right.
How old are you?
Me?
Zach, how old are you?
24, almost 25.
How's that presidential campaign going, bud?
Yeah, great. It's great.
It's going, All right.
Hey, I'm the president of something. Haha. So I got you there. Yes, I am technically a president. Booyah.
Of the Crybaby Gamer Boy Club?
Wow. I'm sad.
I saw
very
Yeah, you are president of the Crybaby Gamer Boy Club.
Wild. Oh my god. Okay. All right. We're gonna go ahead and hop into these. I think I don't know how long yours is, Emma, but I know that mine's pretty short because it's not a really deep dive into things.
Okay.
And I know that Em has 5 pages of notes ready to go for hers. So we're gonna end with Em.
Okay.
I can go ahead and start, and then we'll go over into your story, I guess, or your
Okay.
conspiracy theory. So I specifically didn't want to go into one that was, I guess, more I didn't want to go into one that had some type of historical background or anything like that, or had a bunch of different conspiracy theories associated with it. I wanted one that was extremely linear. And one that was at least somewhat as of recent. And so I actually chose the Juice WRLD conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Which if you guys don't know who Juice World is, I'm actually kind of surprised. Okay, you know who Juice World is, and I'm sad that
Just
you're
because I know you've played his music in my presence doesn't mean I know who he is.
Okay, well, he's the singer behind Lucid Dreams.
Nope.
Okay.
I am
All right.
familiar.
Anyway, if you were on TikTok like a while ago, there was his audio behind it, and this was before he even passed away.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the door slam one, right?
no, it was actually apparently it was a bunch of TikTokers that would go play his audio behind and then go and fake a seizure and spit
Oh yeah,
water out of their mouth.
I did see this as
Um,
well.
I have never come across these videos, but
Wait, what do you mean behind? Like it would be behind their video?
like
Are you trying
the
to say
audio.
backwards?
No, the audio would be in the background of the video, so they would
Oh,
they would add his song to the TikTok.
okay.
Um, but we'll get into that. So, um, essentially, like the big whole thing that happened with Juice World, he ended up passing away last year on December 8th, right? It was last year. I think it was 2019. It was either 2019 or 2000.
It was either late 2019 or very early 2020.
Well, it was in December. It was in December 8th, or it was on December 8th. I remember the date. Like
Then
the
it had
date,
to have been
I remember.
2019.
So was it 3 months ago or was it a year ago?
A year ago.
It was a year ago. So yeah, it was. Well,
Yeah.
that would still be 2019. Then.
Yeah, because I was in college.
Yeah. So he ended up passing away on that, and like when they went and released the unofficial autopsy, they said that he had like an overdose of some type of like unknown pill, opioids, and he had like a seizure while the police were going and searching his jet to see if there was drugs and firearms and all of that other stuff on his jet. But here is where I guess kind of the conspiracy theory starts, is a lot of people that are like on TikTok and like on like Insider, which is like I guess one that's really prevalent on reporting on conspiracy theories, but not really. They I guess discovered that like the plane that Juice World was taking on the night of December 8th was mismarked, in the sense that they said that it was one plane, but it actually wasn't, because he posted like his own private jet had 999 in it, because that was part of his brand and all of that other stuff. And so he was going, I don't remember where he was flying from, but he was going to Chicago, which is where the plane landed, and they had this confrontation and all that other stuff. But if you go and look up on the specific date and like his number for the airplane, it actually says that the airplane took off from the location that he was going from to the Bahamas. So that's why a lot of people are like, okay, he's totally alive, because his plane, it didn't actually land in Chicago. And then I watched a couple other videos of some guy that literally lives on, well, not on is a far stretch, but like a block or two away from the airport. And like he went and said that he didn't hear any sirens the entire night and all of this other stuff, which you would think that if somebody was getting rushed to the hospital after they had a seizure because of an unknown drug, and he was a celebrity, like he would have a lot of sirens going off, whether people reporting to the scene to go and like search more, or even just going to take him to the hospital.
Is it confirmed that he died in the hospital?
Yes, that is what they say. He died in the hospital because of an unknown drug substance. They said that it was because he overdosed on the drug. They didn't even say that it was because of the seizure, that whatever happened to him specifically. So that's where kind of things like get a little like in the gray area. But hold on, sorry, I'm trying to find the next part of it. So he went and tweeted before he really got famous, and like before he went and dropped his single Lucid Dreams and all of that other stuff. he tweeted that he said that one day I'm gonna go and blow up and fake my own death, and all of this other stuff. Like it was a tweet that everyone found like right away as soon as like they confirmed him passing away and all this other stuff. So that kind of brings some like other concerns for some people. Is that they're like, well, you know, he said that he was planning on doing this, and all of this other stuff. Um, and then there's the mixture with the whole TikTok videos. So people are saying whether or not it was staged or if it was more so related to all of the craze that's going on TikTok and everything. They're saying that it went and like pressured him into doing it, which I don't know about that one. Um, but yeah, and then another strong suit within his songs, he has a song that's called All Girls Are the Same, and he literally says, I'm a jealous boy, really feel like John Lennon, which if you didn't know, who like John Lennon passed away on December 8th, which
Wasn't he
ties with the,
murdered?
huh?
Yes.
Yes, but they're more so tying it to the date in which he died, which was December 8th. They both died on December 8th. And then on top of that, he also have another song that's called Legends that goes and like is written in memory of XXS Tentacion and Little Peep. And inside of that song, he said, "What's this? The 27 Club? We ain't making it past 21." Which he died 6 days after his 21st birthday. So, a lot of people think that all of that ties together to say that he is now in the Bahamas living up his life as being a sensation that ended up passing away and all this other stuff, which I don't know how I feel about it, to be completely honest. Like I don't know. I'm kind of like on the fence because like the whole like the dates and everything and saying that he feels like specific people and he's writing all of these things saying that he's not going past 21 and all of that, like I don't so much believe that, but like to believe that his jet number is chartered from one destination to the Bahamas when they said he went to Chicago and ended up passing away from a seizure in Chicago, when if you look at the records from his flight it says that he goes to the Bahamas. Like that right there like kind of makes me like I don't know about it. But yeah, that is pretty much like all I have on mine. It was a super short topic, but I thought it was interesting and I really wanted to tie things into, I guess, more so music and such like and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories about different celebrities faking their own deaths. I know, like Tupac was a big one,
Yeah.
and like Elvis and Michael Jackson were all kind of like big fake deaths.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to prove. I mean, I think it's a great idea if they don't want to be famous anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really no harm in it unless you get caught. But I don't even think like, what are you supposed to do? And be like, oh yeah, I faked it. What are you gonna do about it? Like,
Exactly. And like not only that, but like another thing that kind of like Juice World said multiple times in a lot of different like TMZ interviews and stuff like that. He was on pretty much like a talk show with Sway. I think he's like a really famous like producer and stuff like that within the music production world and all of that other stuff. And like during their interview and all of that, Juice straight up said like, I don't want to be famous. I just like producing music and performing it, and like I don't like everything that comes along with that. So he did say that like multiple times, and like if you really like look at the lyrics of his music and everything too, like he says it multiple times in there as well. So it's like if he is actually alive, then that's awesome for him because now he actually gets to enjoy like making music and stuff. Who knows, maybe he's like is still going and giving his record label like singles and all of that of his unproduced work, but you know no one could really know exactly whether or not it was produced like this month or if it was produced like 4 years ago, you know.
mm-hmm.
So I don't know, that's just like my thoughts on it, I guess. What about you, Am? What do you think?
I mean, okay, I think people vastly underestimate how difficult it would be to like actually fake a death, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if death certificates or like death records are like records that are accessible to the public. So like even if they weren't, he has like a whole network of people that like either he cut himself off completely, and it doesn't sound like he wanted to like cut himself off from his friends and his family. It sounded like he just didn't want to be famous anymore. But like if you're going to effectively fake your own death, like
Yeah.
you have, especially as a celebrity, someone in the public eye, like you have to cut yourself off from your friends and family, because like your friends and family are always going to be the friends and family of the rapper who died so young and like so tragically. Like they're probably going to still be photographed in public and like followed around because maybe they're not still like super mainstream interested, but like there's still a niche where the paparazzi want pictures of them. So I feel like to that end, it would be really difficult to fake your death. But also, like, you can charter a private flight and send it somewhere and simply not be on it.
Yeah.
True.
But like that's the other thing too, is that I did read that apparently the flight that landed in Chicago that they said was like carrying Juice and like his crew and all of that other stuff, and had like all of these other miscellaneous drugs and like firearms and all of that on it, that it was, the charter was registered to be empty. So like that's why I'm kind of like confused, because there's no way that they accidentally went onto the wrong flight, like, you know, especially with Juice having his own private jet, like his
Right.
own private that had 999 on it in order to fix it to the brand and all of that other stuff. So like that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know, that's kind of like weird and like I'm kind of hesitant to believe that. But
Right, but like you don't like, from my understanding, obviously have not ridden in private jets, but like there's a pretty popular TikToker, like Bunny something, I forget her name, but like her husband and her pilot their own private jet, and they say like it's literally like owning a car. All you have to do is like let them know that you're showing up. Like you don't have to go through TSA, you don't have to get anything checked. Like I think it's a lot easier to lie when you have the money to do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is true. And not only that, but you also like let's be real, our whole like logging system of like airplanes and all of that and flights is just so bad, it's ridiculous. I mean, there's like the Malaysia Airlines that are still down in the waters and all of that other stuff, so it's like, yeah, I can kind of understand where like the mess would come from. I don't know, like I said, I'm kind of like on the fence of it. Like I think it would be awesome if he like it was actually still alive and all of that other stuff, but like at the same time, like he's no longer here, if not, and he's in a better spot. So it's like, you know, I don't know.
Like I said, to me, it kind of sounds like, sure, he might not want to have been like wanted to be famous anymore, but like that doesn't mean he didn't want to still like be with his friends, be with his family.
Yeah.
And like if you're really faking your own death, you're basically cutting yourself off from everyone you love. So like I don't know.
You gotta pull a Twilight.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Basically.
Twilight.
Sure. I don't know. Everything I know about Twilight, I know from memes.
Have you not watched the absolute masterpiece of which is the Twilight franchise?
I've seen the first one a couple times, and I've seen bits and pieces of New Moon, and I've seen the like 30-second clip from whatever one it was where Bella yells at Jacob for nicknaming her daughter after the Loch Ness monster. So I've seen collectively about an hour and 45 minutes of the Twilight franchise.
What is Logan doing?
I don't know.
see you so hardly not trying to stare at him doing whatever the fuck he's doing.
I'm not
Tell him
sure
to get
what
out
he
of
was
there.
doing. He's gone now. I'm staring at myself. If you
Oh.
see me looking this way, it's at myself, not him. He's not in the room. When the whole thing shakes, that's him because the floor is unsteady.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can go and move on to the next one really quick. Before we go on to the next one, take a look at our sponsor, Rogue Energy, right here. Make sure to use the code in the video because as of time of recording this, I do not know what that code is. But yeah, I am rocking some dragon fruit mango. There we go. I couldn't think of the name of it. It's a hydration flavor. It is freaking amazing. Has no sugars, all that in it. No caffeine. Great. But yeah, go ahead and check them out. All right.
Yes. We're over here vibing with some great popsicle. So mine is, it's not like a dark conspiracy at all. It's very lighthearted compared to some other ones. But mine is the Mandela effect. So there's like some big ones that everyone kind of knows, like the Berenstain Bears.
That one is the one that fucks up my head every time. Like I take the other ones with a little grain of salt, but the Berenstain Bears fuck me up.
So the Berenstain Bears is actually the Berenstain Bears. It's spelled differently on all the books, but people remember it with an E. So yeah, I'm bad at spelling, so I'm sorry, but it's Bearstein is what everyone remembers, but it's actually Bearstein. So it's Berenstain.
Nope. From the Berenstain universe. They got me crisscross somewhere.
So that's a big one. Like that's the one that pretty much jump-started this whole theory, was the Berenstain Bears. Followed closely by Sex in the City. It's not Sex in the City, it's Sex and the City, but like I think that's kind of a mix of just hearing it is kind of a little iffy.
Yeah.
For some people. The big one that messes with me personally is Star Wars. The famous quote that everyone knows is, "Luke, I am your father," right? The quote is, "No, I am your father." The guy who says it, there's an interview with him, and he says, "Luke, I am your father" was in the script. And when you watch the movie, he says, "No, I am your father." So there's that one. Another one is in
hell?
Yeah.
See, that one because I'd never seen the movie.
I've also never
I
seen
only
the
knew the
movies.
quote from like hearing other people say. Don't be shocked.
No, I'm not shocked at you because I know that it's my fault that you haven't watched it yet. But I'm just saying, like, holy shit, that just like fucked me up.
Another big one, for me personally, is the movie Silence of the Lambs. The famous quote is, "Hello, Clarice." Right? He doesn't say that. He never says that. He comes downstairs and he goes, "Good morning." That's it. There's no "Hello, Clarice" in the whole movie. Again, I have not seen this movie. I should, because there's a new show called Clarice, and it's about like her life post the movie. And I really want to watch it, but I need to see the movie first.
It's a really good movie.
I know. Everyone tells me I love it because I love horror movies, so I will love it. I just need to see it.
I wouldn't really say that it's a like hardcore horror movie, but anyway, that's off topic. Anyway, damn.
It's unsettling more than anything.
Yeah, I've heard that. Is that just messes with you?
I can't.
Yeah, the Mandela effect messes with you, and it started because of Nelson Mandela, or Mandela, however you say it. So people actively remember him dying in prison in the 90s. But he died in like 2010, 11 maybe. I don't exactly remember when he died, but I was in middle school, so like maybe 2012. But people were like, no, he died in prison in the 90s. And that's why it's called the Mandela effect, because he was like the first memory. And there's a ton of these.
The Monopoly or the Monopoly Man.
The Monopoly Man.
That's the one that like messes me up.
Pikachu. I don't remember what it actually is.
Huh?
He doesn't have a monocle.
He does on the first one.
People remember him having a little thingy. Yeah. But Pikachu, I don't remember if I don't know what Pikachu looks like off the top of my head, but people remember him having like black on the end of his tail, or maybe it's like all yellow or something like that. But it's either you remember it with the black and there is no black, or they don't remember the black and there is black. I don't remember.
I'm gonna look this up.
Okay, yeah, 'cause I don't remember the Pikachu
I think he
one.
does have black because I'm pretty sure Mimikyu, which is like a ghost Pokemon that mimics Pikachu, does have black.
I have no idea because I'm not a big Pokemon person. Me and Logan have been going through the Pokédeck, and I just like say one, and I'm like, "What type are they?" It's great.
That just like
Now I need to find it.
really hurts my head. He doesn't
Here.
say, "Luke, I am your father."
Correct. So this is Pikachu. He doesn't have black on his tail, but people remember him having black on his tail.
So where to go?
He had black.
T.
He had it. I'm telling you, like in the OG cartoon, like he had it.
Okay.
100%.
I'm trying to think of other like big ones. Fruit Loops. People remember it being spelled like actual fruit, Fruit, and it's Froot on the box.
Zach,
What?
Season 1, Indigo League. He does not have the black on his tail.
I'm ruining Z's life.
Broken. I'm broken right now. I am 100% broken. There was another one with Aunt Jemima, wasn't it?
No, I think they just took her off the bottles. I don't know the Aunt Jemima one. There might be. A weird personal one for me, people don't remember this, but I do, is that Kit Kats had a dash in the middle. It was Kit Dash Cat. And I remember this shit distinctly because when I was a kid, I was like a weirdo, and I would bite the Kit Kat to the dash in the middle. And they've never had a dash.
Apparently, Jif peanut butter, people remembered it as Jiffy.
I've heard that.
Is there a Jiffy?
I don't remember
Huh?
that. I think that happened post me being alive.
I don't know that one.
But I know a lot of people do say that one as well.
Looney Tunes? That one fucked
Yes,
me up
Looney
too.
Tunes. I forgot all about that one.
Wait, so which
Wait,
one's
what's the
correct
Looney
one?
Tunes one?
So Looney Tunes is Looney, Looney, and then Tunes, like Looney Tunes, like music. But people,
So that's the one it's supposed to be.
yeah, but people remember it
remember that
being
as
Looney, and then Toons, like cartoons. And that's not what it is.
Messing me up.
So the Mandela Effect has been one of my favorites for a long time because it's constantly building. There's always new ones.
So, like, what
think it's-
is, like, definition-wise, what is the Mandela effect?
So the Mandela Effect as a whole is when a mass amount of people remember something as it didn't happen, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
a lot of people remember it happening one way or it being one way, and it never was like that, or stuff like that.
Here's another one. Curious George.
He doesn't
Did he
have a tail.
I remember him as.
I
having a
also
tail.
remember him having a tail.
Because I remember his tail sticking out of his yellow
Yep.
rain jacket.
Homeboy doesn't have a tail. He's a monkey. Why does he not have a tail?
It's like
Is there messing-
80% of how they get around.
Exactly. Why does he not have a tail? I don't get it.
Okay, hold up here. Febreze?
Mm-hmm.
They're
What?
saying it's only. They're saying it's FEBREZE.
One E.
No two E's.
No two E's. One E. Febreze.
Check the cabinet. Check the. I know there's Febreze in that cabinet underneath the sink.
You're closer to the bathroom, you check the cabinet.
Wait,
You're the
no,
one
it's-
whose
it's
mind
not
is
under the
blown.
bathroom one. I
Tea.
thought it was in the.
No.
Oh, another
Oh.
one is Chick-fil-A.
What about Chick-fil-A?
People remember Chick-fil-A being spelled CHIC-FIL-A. There was no K. It was like, or maybe it was out without the C and just the K. So it was like CHIK. But there's a C
Wait,
there.
I thought that was how it was spelled. CHIK.
No, it's CHICK. Like chick, like chicken. I'm breaking your boyfriend. I'm so sorry.
I'm going and checking this freaking.
Okay, well, if it's under the kitchen sink, then I guess that's just another Mandela effect, huh?
What, is it not actually in here? Oh, there's blade.
There's no Febreze under the kitchen sink.
Dude, I don't think we have a breeze up here either.
I don't think we own Febreze.
While we're taking a quick little break while he's finding the Febreze, Logan got me a Polaroid camera for Valentine's Day. Very excited. I took a picture of Miss Peach and she put it on the fridge to test it out.
Oh.
It's cute.
Did she pose very well for her picture?
Yeah, she was eating her dinner. So it's a picture of like above her and her food bowl. It's really cute. I like it.
Baby.
My friend's cat has feline cancer, so every time I go there and like pet her cat, I have to like completely scrub my hands off before I touch Peach because cat cancer is like transferable or something, or like she could get sick.
That's horrendous.
Yeah.
There's no Febreze in the apartment. I'm sad.
Mandela effect, man.
I wanted to test. How do you spell Oscar Mayer? Now that I know we have. 'Cause I just made the
Meyer.
What was it?
Meyer, but it's Mayer. I know this one.
Yup.
But it shouldn't be.
Yep.
It should be Meyer.
How do you spell Skechers?
Wait,
Without the T. I know this one.
is her best friend? His first. C-A-R.
Fruit Loops.
Are you on the BuzzFeed article?
No, I'm
Stop
on
it.
GH, whatever GH
Oh,
is. I
okay.
don't know what that is.
I know BuzzFeed
Lay
puts
down.
out a lot of
Yeah, there it is.
Mandela
There's the Monopoly man running with a monocle on while he's holding his bag,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have the.
Go lay down.
I remember him having. Oh, there's the Pikachu one with the black. I'm telling you that black existed.
One was about Mickey Mouse, and if he had like suspenders or something. They were yellow suspenders that
government-
attached to his buttons on his pants, but he doesn't have suspenders.
I never thought he had suspenders.
I didn't either, but a lot of people remember it.
Cornucopia with Fruit of the Loom.
It's not there,
Yeah.
but I remember it being there too. I can see it
remember
in
it
my
being there.
head.
I'm telling you, the government's fucking with us.
I agree.
Copia
Okay,
Fruit of the Loom thing just sounds like it was rebranding at some point.
hold
Because
on
Jiffy
here.
was, because I looked it up.
Oh,
gotcha.
Jiffy was.
Cheez-Its? Cheez-Its? No, it's Cheez-It. No Z.
I hate that one. I did know that one, but I forgot what it was. But that
I
one
think my
makes me
Cheez-Its are in there with
uncomfortable.
you.
What?
I think my Cheez-Its are in there with you.
I don't have Cheez-Its. I should have gotten some
I don't know
at work
what it
today.
would be.
So yeah.
What's wrong with this double stuff Oreo one? I don't understand.
Oh, it's just one F. Double stuff. STUF. One
That
F.
just sounds like they don't know how to spell.
I know. Dum-dums.
Wow, these are crazy. What? C-3PO with a silver leg? Nuh-uh. He was all gold.
Okay. The only Star Wars movie I have ever seen is Phantom Menace. And I remember that motherfucker being all gold. Wait, no, wasn't he kind of like busted up in Phantom Menace? I don't know what I remember. I know Jar Jar Binks was there though.
That's the
What color
only
is
Star Wars movie
chartreuse?
I've seen too, with Jar Jar Binks.
What color is chartreuse?
It's yellow.
Green.
It's like a yellow green. But people remember it being pink, specifically the pink that's like behind you right now.
No, see, my theory on that is that chartreuse sounds pink.
It does.
Because there's also a purple color that I think sounds green.
The only
can't remember
reason
what
that
it
I
is.
know chartreuse is because of Coraline, because she does chartreuse and it's yellow on the eyes.
Hey, M.
You know what? What? Oh,
This one is very geared towards you. What's the most popular quote from Forrest Gump? Involves a thing of chocolates.
my mama used to say that Life is a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Nope. It was life was like a box of chocolates, apparently.
I'm watching the movie.
I don't agree
The
with
auditory ones mess with me because sometimes I want to believe that we just hear things differently, and then the other part of me is like,
Yeah.
but if the actors remember it saying one way, how did it just disappear?
I don't understand. Well, just like there's this one's the Snow White. What's the
Oh,
what's
I
the
hate
quote?
this one.
Wait, what?
What's the quote? With the mirror. What's the quote?
Oh, I know that one's like I know I remember like the written fairy tale version. I don't remember the Disney one. I know the way I remember it is different than what it is in the Disney movie.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, so people remember it as mirror, mirror on the wall, which is what I remember it as, but apparently it's magic mirror on the wall.
I need to
I don't
watch
know.
Snow White again now. It's gonna piss me off.
Yep.
Guys, would you believe it that Logan has never seen Matilda?
What a trash man.
I made him watch it last night because it's one of my favorite movies, so I made him watch it.
I love it.
It
I
is.
still follow Mara Wilson
Me
on
too.
Twitter.
It's a beautiful movie.
Huh? What?
What?
Of the world. Oh, and your favorite song, The Mandela Effect, is here to ruin that too. We all think of Freddie Mercury belting out "Of the World" at the end of "We Are the Champions," but it never happened. However, Freddie does sing the words at the end of the song during the band's famous Wembley Stadium performance.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that is literally the only time in which he ever said "Of the World."
I think a lot of radio stations play that live version though, because I've heard it many times on the radio.
But like Robin used to play that album all the fucking time, all the time in the car. And it was either A, we were just all singing it wrong that entire time, or B, yeah, that's fucking me up.
Mm-hmm. All right, if you want to get into yours, you might we should probably move along.
You broke me.
Oh, do we have another sponsor?
Yes, we do.
We have to plug the merch.
Well, yes, no, but I'm gonna do the merch at the end. But like the thing is that like we don't have these videos made, so I don't know whether or not we're gonna have them made before these podcast episodes go out, or if I'm just supposed to go and talk about it.
I don't know.
Because I know that the merch one's gonna be really easy for me to make, and same with the Rogue Energy one because I'm gonna make that one too. But I don't know if we're sticking with Cinch Gaming or if we're getting rid of Cinch Gaming.
Well, I would just, when you're editing, cut it off at "yes, we do," and then just cut straight into someone talking about merch or whatever.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So I kind of changed ideas up a couple times. Originally, I was going to talk about the John Benet Ramsey murder because low-key obsessed with it. And I think I know what happened. I'm pretty confident I know what happened. And I think we all know what happened. But like, you know, when people are like, oh, if you die and God is real and you get to heaven, which like, psh, I'm not getting to heaven, but okay. And you could ask one question, what would that question be? And people are like, I want to know the meaning of life. I want to know, da, da, da. I'd be like, who killed John Benet Ramsey?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's all I want to know. That's the only way my spirit is gonna get any peace in this life. Anyway, Burke did it.
Oh yeah, the brother for sure.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
And his parents just did a really horrible job at covering it up because they didn't want to lose 2 children, which like
Which is weird.
I get. Like a horrible tragedy. I think he did it on accident, and the parents covered it up, and they were just lucky enough to have a wildly incompetent police force.
There was also a lot of like sexual assault allegations with John Bonet and like her father and stuff, but I don't exactly know how that correlates. I just know that there was some issues.
Well, that's
with
like that kind of ties into people thinking like the father did it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think some people think like the mother did it out of like out of jealousy because the dad was like
Weird.
abusing her, which is
Horrible.
okay. But then I decided to cover a different conspiracy.
Okay.
Because I think we can get a spectrum of viewpoints in this group.
Okay.
And I'm going to be covering the conspiracy that Helen Keller was faking it.
Okay. Okay. She was.
The full circle.
Okay.
I'm going to give a disclaimer. When I was doing my research, a lot of articles that I had to sift through were about a week old, and they were all titled Gen Z Doesn't Believe in Helen Keller. I didn't take any of my information from those articles because I didn't want to turn it into like a generational haha, the kids are so dumb kind of thing, because I think there are people in every generation who believe she was faking it. Like there was an article from her lifetime where someone wrote that she was faking it. Some grown-ass man wrote a whole entire book in 2010 that she was a fraud. So like it's not a generational thing. Some people in Gen Z were just being very public about their beliefs. Like they just have the ability to be stupid on a bigger platform, but like everyone has this ability.
I just don't understand how she learned to read. Not read. How she learned to talk.
I'll get to it.
Okay.
I'll get to it.
I'm sorry.
Okay, a little bit of background on who Helen Keller was, in case anyone watching this didn't know. She was born in June 27th in 1880, and she became deafblind at the age of 19 months because she fell deathly ill. They don't have like a definitive what it was, but based off of like her symptoms that people were talking about at the time, they think it was either like scarlet fever or meningitis. But she was running like a crazy high fever that kind of like damaged her sight and like made her deafblind. So when she was 7, her parents got in touch with Alexander Graham Bell, who got them in touch with the Perkins Institute for the Blind, who then sent them one of their alumni, Anne Sullivan, who became Helen Keller's like teacher and friend, and like they were like together at the hip. But she's the woman who gave Helen like the ability to communicate, because up until this time, she did have like a degree of being able to communicate. So I guess like she had about 60 like home signs, like kind of like a made up sign language that she had a mutual understanding with her parents. But through Anne Sullivan teaching her, she was able to like fully communicate and finally be able to like learn to speak in her own way. But as she grew up, she was able to get a formal education, attending the Perkins Institute herself, like Anne Sullivan did. And at the age of 24, she graduated from Harvard's Radcliffe College with a Bachelor in Arts and a member of Phi Beta Kappa. So she graduated with honors. As an adult, she established her legacy as a disability rights advocate, political activist, lecturer, and a prolific author, having written a total of 14 books, her first of which wasn't a book. It was a story she wrote at the age of 11. And she died in her sleep in 1968 at the age of 87 after suffering a series of strokes. Now, why do people believe she's not real? Okay, that's like an oversimplification of it. Most people think that she was like a real person, right? Like that's not the part they're not believing. But they think she's either like she lied or like her abilities were just like massively exaggerated. So the first article I read was from one writer, Jack O'Shea, back in 2017, titled Helen Keller, the Greatest Liar in American History. So his first point is that she supposedly wrote her first story at the age of 11. Quote, "Have you ever met an 11-year-old? They're surprisingly stupid. Today's 11-year-olds have access to iPhones, iPads, Amazon Fire TV sticks, Wikipedia, Ask Jeeves," which, like, it's 2011 or 2017 at this point. Like, who's going on Ask Jeeves?
I don't even know what that is.
It's like a website that's kind of similar to Google in the sense that you'll pose a question and it will get the answer for you.
Oh,
You would
okay.
ask Jeeves, and then a little tiny animated butler would show up with the answers. This was like when I was in 6th grade. So no 11-year-old in 2017 had Ask Jeeves.
No, absolutely not.
And Pornhub. And even then they are still wrestling with the perils of proper grammar. I love the implication that modern 11-year-olds are getting grammar lessons on Pornhub.
Well,
You expect me to believe that a child who didn't truly begin learning to communicate until after the age of 6 could publish a story back in 1891 when Benjamin Harrison was sitting president? And supposedly, end quote. And supposedly the original editor believed that Anne Sullivan plagiarized The Frost King from a book at the time called The Frost Fairies and committed fraud. And then he goes on to speak about Anne Sullivan herself, saying that she was actually a ghostwriter who capitalized on Helen Keller's disability and used her name. Quote, we have to assume that Keller wasn't physically writing these books. The most likely scenario is that Keller communicated to Sully through fingerspelling, and then Sully in turn transferred Keller's thoughts to Paige. Okay, so that's like, I think a big misconception that people have is that Helen Keller knew sign language, like knew ASL. She did not.
I knew that. I did know that.
So Anne Sullivan had taught her finger spelling. So like there are videos of Helen Keller. You can see like where someone like taps her on the finger and like how many it's like, I think they called it like tactile speech or something. So it's almost kind of like Morse code, but like via touch. It was actually kind of cool, but Jack O'Shea then points out that that would have been incredibly time consuming. And not only that, but as her teacher, that Anne Sullivan had a major financial stake in Keller's success. Quote, "Let's be honest, if you were in Sully's shoes, wouldn't it be hard to resist writing whatever the hell you wanted as Helen Keller, knowing that just by signing her name at the bottom, you would increase your readership by like 1,000,000%. And then he finishes off with the thought that her ideas and her writings were both too complex and too broad. Quote, "Also, Helen Keller didn't focus her writings on what it was like to live in society as a deafblind person, which would have been totally justified. Keller wrote about feminism, socialism, anti-militarism, and probably a bunch of other isms throughout her life. These are pretty complex topics for someone who has only ever experienced the world through touch and feel. I'm willing to bet that the majority of these political philosophies come from Sullivan," which is basically all he writes. I found other thoughts from 5 years ago. Reddit user OCOWAX, I don't know if there's a way to pronounce that. Quote, "I believe Helen Keller was lied about and used as some form of propaganda. I sound crazy right now, but I have no idea how she could understand, write, and talk. You might say Braille, and I guess you could rub her hand over the same thing while giving her an apple to eat to teach her that it means the flavor that she gets in her mouth, but I do not believe that she could bring that as far as teaching her to write books. I don't know how someone whose only frame of references are to smell things and touch things and taste things could possibly understand something as philosophical as optimism. So, in general, I think Helen Keller, to some extent, was exaggerated and lied about. So those are some of the ideas that people who don't believe in Helen Keller have, but a lot of historians and disability activists have kind of debunked this, and they say that the majority of the response, or like the majority of these ideas, are deeply rooted in ableism, and like people are just infantilizing this woman who, like, she didn't have any like mental deficit. She wasn't stupid. She just couldn't see, she couldn't hear. So once she was given the ability to communicate, like once she learned how to communicate, of course she was able to think the same way that like everyone else does. And of course she was able to communicate those ideas. And yeah, she did have to have someone like transcribe her books, but those were no less her own thoughts and feelings. Like the majority of us are just uncomfortable with the idea that like someone who we would look at and kind of like I said, infantilizing them, that we like that they could be like their own autonomous person. That's kind of what it all boils down to. But she was able to speak. She didn't speak that clearly. In the video I watched, you can hear her talk. She actually has to have a translator, but she learned how to. So a lot of what she relied on was vibrations. Like she could tell who was coming into the room, kind of like how you can hear someone walking up the stairs and like you know it's your mom or your dad or whatever. Like she could feel the vibrations and know who it was. So when she was learning how to speak, she would have most of her hand on someone's throat so she could feel the vibration, and then have her thumb on their mouth to feel like how they formed words. But like they couldn't teach her tone or like intonation or anything. So when she speaks, it's really flat. And like she's not fully forming words, which is why she has that, or like had, obviously she's dead. Why she had a translator for like any of the speeches she was given. But a lot of people who don't believe in her don't necessarily think that she was the political activist she claimed to be. But I think we see even today that a lot of marginalized people end up sharing her not exact beliefs, but similar beliefs. And I mean, she was a woman in the late 19th century and she was pretty handicapped. So that was a relatively marginalized group. So I'm not shocked that that's where her life took her. But yeah.
Wow. I don't know. I just don't understand why people don't understand or like can't imagine that she's able to speak and stuff like that, because like realistically it would be the exact same thing as a baby going and learning how to speak a language, you know, like when they come out, like when they come out of the womb and all that, like they're not gonna be like, oh hey, what's up dad, what's for dinner, you know, like it takes time and like energy and everything else in order for them to like learn things. Like I don't understand why it's complex for it's just a different way of learning, if that makes sense. Like yeah, she doesn't have like the sense of hearing or of seeing what it is that people are going and doing or whatever, but like she can still smell and she still has like the tactile ability and all that. Like I guess like that's why I'm like really, it's like really hard for me to like, because it's like saying that people, it would be like saying right now that there aren't people that live in the world that know how to utilize Braille and American Sign Language and stuff like that who are deaf and blind in this current time. That's like pretty much the extent of it. I understand that she didn't know like Braille or American Sign Language. Like she had like her own touch
I
kind
mean,
of thing.
she could have read Braille.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but like that's what I'm saying though, is like I don't understand why it's so complex for people to like wrap their heads around. And I kind of like, now that once you went and said like a bunch of people think that it's because of ableism and stuff like that, it makes sense to me as to why.
To like, I'm not necessarily going to say to the credit of those who don't believe, but like, if you don't think about it that deeply, I understand not being able to understand how like someone who's deaf and blind can learn to communicate so well, because I think it only goes so far as your imagination. Like there's disabled painters who like paint with their feet and they make beautiful work, like mind-blowingly beautiful work. And to me, I'm like, I could never imagine being able to do that or learning to do that, because like not only have I never had to do that, like I've never been forced to adapt in that way, but like my left hand isn't dexterous enough to draw what my right hand can draw. I couldn't imagine my feet doing that.
Yeah.
So like I don't necessarily I don't think it's a stretch to believe that people think that she's faking it. I think like this isn't me saying that like you, Emma, specifically have this belief. I'm saying like I'm sure that there are a certain number of people who like are like deeply ableist and they see her accomplishing these things they know that they could never accomplish, and they're like, well, fuck, it has to be a scheme.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think that way. But
No,
like,
exactly. Like I said, I think on a very surface level, like it's so easy to be like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think she was a real person. Okay, I know that I said like I don't think she was real, but she was definitely a human being. She existed. I might still say that some of her accomplishments might have been a little bit dramatized, just for like her family's sake. I think because she was born into like a pretty like wealthy family, wasn't she?
I don't know. I know they were like riding high at one point because her dad was he was a officer in the Confederate Army, but I think post Civil War things weren't going too hot for them. But like they were, I mean, they had a hookup with Alexandra Graham Bell, so there was like a certain degree of like.
So like my thought process is if she didn't have the name of her family, she probably wouldn't have been as successful. I also think if she didn't have the resources of her family, she probably would have died. Like no, like if
No, 100%.
If it wasn't a wealthy family that had connections, they probably would have just given up on her.
Yeah, if it wasn't a well-off white family, 100%. But I don't think that's a reflection of like her not having actually accomplished these things. I think that's her being in a position to like have a leg up. So yeah, one of her privileges wasn't the ability to see or hear, but like there's definitely a certain amount of privilege that like put her in a position to like be able to accomplish what she did. I mean, going to college at that time, that definitely wasn't super common. So that alone's like big.
Like I want to know how many times since her or before her have people been born, or not born, but like have become deaf and blind? Like how many times has it actually happened? That's a question I really want to know the answer to, honestly. But I definitely think she did a lot, and she was probably very smart. She just obviously couldn't translate it as well as people who can speak.
Many
normally.
people have been deafblind. That's not how you spell deafblind.
National Child Count.
Wow, in 1994, it is estimated that roughly between 35,000 and 40,000 United States residents are medically deafblind.
Wow. Huh. I guess now it's probably easier, I would assume, because of all the technologies that we have.
Not only that, but like after having someone so famous be deafblind, like
yeah, So I,
That's
I definitely think she did a lot. She probably didn't know how to actually type, if that makes sense, like on the typewriter and whatnot. But I'm sure she did write the books that she wrote. She probably just had somebody like write it, and she just gave them the prompts and everything. And that's not a sin. Lots of people do that.
Right. Like there was when people in the Reddit threads that I were reading where people were arguing like there are severely disabled people who like write their own books. Like a man who was like fully paralyzed wrote a book by blinking Morse code and having someone transcribe it.
Oh my God.
So like he didn't physically write it,
But he made
but
it. It's his.
but he
his
still
idea.
blunked that shit out.
Yeah. I never looked, honestly, I've never looked into her life that hard. I was just like, seeing it on the surface, I was like, that didn't happen. But
I think something, okay, so like I said, I didn't click any of those articles that were saying like Gen Z doesn't believe in Helen Keller because I didn't want to turn it into a kids are dumb thing. But I did see a TikTok about it. And like, I don't know how ironic the TikTok was or wasn't, right? Because it was like a 19-year-old and they're balls deep in irony culture. Like you can't believe a goddamn thing that comes out of their mind or out of their mouth. But there were some pretty unironic comments, and someone was like, "She has an accent. How are you going to be deaf and have an accent?" Or they said she had a British accent. But first of all, like, we don't know what unaccented speech sounds like.
right.
Like, everyone has an accent. Like, I don't think I do, but obviously, like, someone even from like another region is going to think I have an accent.
Right.
So like to
Jesus.
be like she has an accent, maybe she doesn't. Maybe her like deaf-blind voice is the true unaccented speech. Like you don't know.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
good
not
point.
only- Like not only that, but like also like she's learning how to speak from someone.
And like at that
Like,
time, it was what, the
who-
19th century. So
Yeah,
we were
she was like 1880 to like early 20th century. So,
so
like
we were
19th to 20th.
still like having generations of people who were around, not during like the revolution, like obviously they were here, but like the revolution or the generations down from that probably still had generational accents from the ones before them. So I wouldn't be surprised if she did
It
have a
goes
slight
away.
accent just because of her family, like talking.
Saw the video and I think that commenter was on crack. I didn't hear a British accent. I
haven't
just
listened to
heard
her talk.
A deaf woman speaking.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Wild. I don't know. Ever since hearing, so when I was in high school and everything, I was in a trig class. And there was a girl, I'm not going to go and name her name because I think that's kind of fucked.
Name
we'll call
her name. Name
no,
her
we'll call
name.
her Shelby. Shelby went, and I don't remember exactly what we were talking about. What?
Your niece's aunt.
No.
You're like, oh, I need to think of another name for a dumb girl.
I just thought of a random name, bro. Wow, you're calling Shelby dumb? Wow, dude. Wow.
That
Toxic.
bent.
Anyway, Shelby went and said, I just don't understand it. And like the teacher was like, what do you not understand? Like this is a simple equation, like explaining stuff for math. And she's like, no, not math. I just don't understand how Helen Keller can be deaf and blind at the same time. And everyone like looks around like, the fuck is she talking about? And she's like,
Like she'd been holding on to that shit since like third period history.
And so John went and said, what the hell do you mean? What do you think Helen Keller's like Santa Claus? And she's like, yeah, that bitch didn't exist. And we're like,
no.
oh, okay, all right, yep, yeah, cool. Yeah, that totally happened at my private, like, expensive high school that you would think that people would. I don't know. At
Choose
least pay
your words
attention a little
carefully.
bit. At least no, like pay like all you gotta do is just pay attention. Like I just like you can't say that she's not a real person.
Right.
Like she is a real person. No, like Shelby went and believed that this was not a real person.
And she can definitely be deaf and blind. Like you just doesn't it mess with like your like it just messes with the like your brain stem and stuff. Isn't that how she lost her vision and her hearing was because like the infection of her illness like went into her nerve endings and
So
stuff?
how deaf and how you're deaf and how you're blind, there's like kind of two different ways for it to happen. So with like blindness, it's either like if you're totally blind, it's probably an issue with your optic nerve, or if like you're blind but can still see like shapes and colors, it's probably an issue with your perception. I didn't see any articles saying like this is definitively what happened and how she became deafblind.
Mm-hmm.
And like she died in 1968. Wow, that wasn't that long ago. I mean, it was, but like it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean.
Like I can't imagine Helen Keller being alive in my parents' lifetime. Like, oh, that's trippy. But like they might not have
That
checked
messed
for
you
it.
up big time.
That did fuck me up.
Like how the Mandela effects were messing me up pretty hard.
No, it's kind of like how you associate like different people with
Yeah,
different
no.
time eras, like how Martin Luther King and like Anne Frank were born in the same year, but you think about them like two different, completely different eras. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's weird thinking Helen Keller was alive when my parents were. I didn't know they were that old. Damn. Sorry, Connie.
All right. Anyway, I think that's really all we have time for right now.
I think so.
In the comments down below, I would like to know what your guys' thoughts about not only the conspiracy theories that we talked about today, but if you have any that you would potentially want us to cover in a later episode, because who knows, we might bring this back. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Closing thoughts, anybody?
No.
Burke murdered John Bonet.
I think our next
my,
our next topic should be unsolved murders
I like that. I like it.
because I've got a few.
All right. Well, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want to see unsolved murder being talked about on the channel, and make sure to
Smash
hit this.
that like button.
Okay. It really does help us out. It helps boost the algorithm and all that. So I would appreciate it if you guys did that for us. And make sure to, go ahead and check out all of our socials as well. And make sure to join our Discord. All of those links will be down below in the description.
Drink Rogue Energy.
Drink your Rogue.
Energy. And check out all of our merch right now. Bye-bye.